still, cold world, no horizon in sight. The rulers of old, stripped of pride and glory. It feels as yesterday we were turning the wheels of progress, until the frost stopped it all. We bid farewell to plenty, and for those who remained came the time to adapt. We decided to leave our homes and head north. We knew the cost of our journey, and we paid the price 100 times. Finally, the time has come to build the last city on Earth. The city must survive.
Hi Beasts, today we have a pleasure to host Jakub Wiśniewski, CEO of Canon and one of the Frostpunk creators. Hi Jakub.
Hi guys, great to be here.
It's awesome.
Hey.
It's awesome to host you, and considering how huge Frostpunk success of Frostpunk is, question to start: how sleeping when working 24 hours per day? You and your team so active on social media, and how you handle all of this?
Well, it's it's a team effort. As any successful project, it's never one person's job. Sleeping was kind of non-existing throughout the last week. We managed to catch a few hours of sleep in between the days of the campaign. Especially the start was crazy. My internet connection got severed the day after, and that was just crazy. My friends from Board and Dice helped me out and let me in their office to run the campaign and run some calls. But we've managed to get through that. Yeah, it's been a wild ride, but all in all, we're just hyped with what's happening and with the response of the community.
Great thing you mentioned hype, because today we want to put aside all the hype around the game, ask you some honest questions.
Just meat and bones.
Yeah,
Yes.
meat and bones. To soften the blow. It already seems that Frostpunk feels like game made exactly for our needs. I mean Greg and mine, because it combines mature theme with hard, engaging cooperative gameplay. And sorry for mentioning, but it will be a lot of mentions during this interview, that we are super fans of this War of Mine, and it seems Frostpunk
Yeah,
is
that's
taking...
I had an active part in creating that project, so no need to apologize. And it's an amazing game with Michał Orac's wonderful design and based on an amazing game by 11-bit Studios. So the comparisons are natural, and I have nothing against them.
It's great, because our expectations are that the Frostpunk is going to take the War of Mine, this perfect combination from War of Mine, even higher. And I hope.
Yeah, so
it will be
the, obviously my opinion isn't arbitrary. So I'm a huge fan of our game, mainly because I'm a huge fan of Adam Kwapinski's work, and I've heard before we got a chance of working together, and it was actually Michał Orac that helped us to kind of hook up. And before I got a chance to work with Adam, I heard stories and legends about how difficult it is to work with him, and how strict a person he is. And obviously some of these legends were true, but actually with Adam, it's he is so focused on his work, and he treats this so seriously that it spreads to the whole team. So working with him was the best decision I ever made. This his presence has been just a blessing for us all, because he motivates us to do not 100% but 200% of what we can.
Yeah.
And that's just great.
Adam's name is mentioned a lot during this campaign, but
Yes,
we
feel,
understand it fully, because
yeah.
Adam's name now is quite a brand across the world.
Yes, Adam's name is a brand, but we feel, and this is something that we want to promote in the industry. Each company has a different approach towards promoting people who are not part of their organization. And we feel that an artist, of course, Adam wouldn't call himself an artist, but an artisan. But he is creating some creative stuff, meaning the design of the game, which I think can be called art. So any artist deserves, in our opinion, to be promoted with the project, because it's the part of their work that builds up this popularity of the project and everything. And this goes for the whole team. We are at the, let's say, we are behind the beginning of the campaign and approaching the middle. We want to promote some more artists, some more Polish artists, because I don't know if everybody is aware, but Frostpunk, the board game, is the first Kickstarter campaign launched on Kickstarter from Polish territory. And we have been
nice.
the tip of the spearhead for Kickstarters opening to Polish creators, to Polish, Greek, and
So
Slovenian.
bar is set very high now.
The bar was set very high
for the next Polish Kickstarters. Yeah.
Yeah, but I believe in our countrymen. We have some great companies here in Poland, and I think we will just kind of shove the snow away for them.
We know that the current success is just it's an effect of a lot of work before the campaign you put into and building the community. And going back to the community, we've checked some questions, issues, concerns from the Kickstarter comment section. So maybe starting with easy ones.
Okay.
Those ones are really easy. And this is from the guy named Jordi, and he's asking if a game will be translated into all languages as the PC version of the game. In what languages are you planning to deliver more languages to the?
Yes. To be honest, we have 8 languages right now that are confirmed on our campaign, and more are coming. So obviously we have English, German, French, Spanish, Polish, Italian, Czech, and Korean. I know for a fact that Russian language is coming. We are talking with publishers from Hungary, and we are talking with a very big publisher for Asia. Those of you who follow social media might have some guesses who it is. It's going to be a pleasure to working with those guys. We will obviously confirm it once it's like super sure the contract is signed. but all in all, I think we will have at least like 80-90% of coverage of all the languages that were true for the digital game. Maybe even some, let's say,
extra.
more exotic, not to, offend anybody, but obviously the translations are dictated by the popularity of a given market,
Yeah,
because of
exactly.
the costs connected with doing it.
It's not a language independent game. There's a lot of text.
Yeah, and actually, I come from a background as a translator. I used to translate books and articles and comics from English to Polish and the other way around. So for me, the translation process is really important. And when we picked the publishers, we made sure that they're the ones known for approaching the localization process.
Yeah, that was my second question,
Yeah.
because there are more and more localizations, but some of them, they are not stand true to the original.
Yeah.
And sometimes we are just not fine with that we didn't pick English version. When we are checking the comparing Polish and English version, there are so many differences even in mechanics, and it's not great.
That's totally understandable. This is why we handpicked our publishers, our language publishers. We made sure that they're people who first of all care for the game, second of all they have good track record.
Okay, so one more easy question, because in our home, Greg is the person responsible for setting up all the game and reading the rules.
Unfortunately, yes, that's true.
I'm the debating guy. I'm painting minis. It's also very demanding. So what about the size on the table we need? It's still important for some people.
Yeah.
Not everybody has the big table in his house for the board game.
Totally true. Okay, so for now, the size of the prototype, it's rather large, and I was able to fit the full setup of the game, the core scenario with all the additional components, all the boards on a 48 by 48 inch Warhammer playmat.
Okay.
This is like 120 centimeters by 120 centimeters.
Yeah.
So it's
quite classic for
it's a bit wider than a normal dining table, which is I think 120 40 by 90 centimeters.
Yeah, we have 90 also, but
yeah.
Okay.
But so this is just the matter of setting up the boards, because the main board, the rim with all the hexes inside, this can be easily put on any table size.
You can set it up in a square.
Yeah,
but
you can just instead of going to a square, you can sort of push to the sides, and then you're good to go.
And next question, quite connected to this one, because some people on Kickstarter page are asking about the boxes for the game, and everything will be fit into one box, or you are planning to provide several boxes, separate for minis, separate for core game?
So the reason we are going with more than one box is that it's just easier to do the logistics part and not to mix anything up, because imagine having 10,000 or more actually game boxes where you need to check each box if the mini needs to be there or not. This creates a lot of potential for a human mistake, and then backers being angry and us being angry, and factory workers being angry because something didn't work as it should. That's why we divided we divided the minis into a separate box, and all the minis will be in those, even with the expansions and all the stuff that you're unlocking throughout the campaign. You will be able to fit into this box for miniatures. Then there's the Frostlander expansion, which comes with additional cards, with component upgrades, and this is also going to be a separate box.
Okay.
Because but it's going to be a smaller one, and we will check what our options are. Because one other thing that the community is really strongly expressing that they wish for is thicker cardboard or dual layer board. And I don't want to spoil anything, but we're listening. We're listening. Yeah. So, but this also pumps the volume of the components. It increases the weight of the whole box. So we have to take with a board game and with because when you design a board game for a retail market, you just make it, and nobody people get it, and either they like it or not. But the Kickstarter is completely different.
Yeah,
You're
it's all about the community.
Yeah, and you're sort of going live with this. But thank God for Michał Ozon, who's our CEO and who's an extremely experienced person where it comes to manufacturing games, delivering them on Kickstarter and retail. And Michał is just going crazy with his Excel sheets, changing everything, checking how one component influences the other, and thanks to that, we will be able to deliver what we are promising.
Okay, well, the area you mentioned is touching one of our last questions. Maybe we will ask it now, but going back, one last thing. People are asking about the place for sleeve cards, for sleeving them.
Oh, yes. This is something we want to, we're board gamers ourselves, and I have too many games where I sleeved my cards and I cannot put them in the box, and it's just so annoying that none of us at Glass Cannon Unplugged would do this to our community. So feel safe about this one.
Okay.
There will be space for sleeved cards.
Now we can go to some more major questions.
Feel free.
Yeah, Greg, maybe it's something for you, because this is this multiplayer versus solo.
Yeah, sure. The next question, because people are worried, and actually there is some kind of syndrome when we talk about the co-op games, that we always have the leader in a group. People are worried if we have the same thing over here. Is it balanced? And when we are going to play as a co-op, does any player can participate in the game, or we again are like facing the problem of game at the end being just solo play?
Okay, this is something that we've heard a lot, and it all mixed with questions about semi-co-op elements. So maybe I will begin with answering this question. Frostpunk, the board game, is not going to be a semi-co-op and will not have any semi-co-op components, because first of all, this just wouldn't be Frostpunk, and besides besides the fact that this is a licensed game on a digital one, and 11-bit studios, they're our relationship with them, it's not based only on business. We value their work, and they value ours. One of the reasons they chose us, a small team of experienced developers, is that they knew we would stay true to their ideas and their philosophy, and we don't want to breach that trust. and we just think that it would have a bad influence on the world. It's a snow apocalypse. People of the 19th century, especially in UK, but anywhere in the world, they were so divided by class, by a huge gap between the poor people and the rich people and the ruling class. And the one of the core elements of Frostpunk is the uniting component, which is the apocalypse, which is the cult that forces those people to work hand in hand, and kind of robbing this world of this element wouldn't be beneficial to it at all.
Yeah, this
However,
one I can understand, but what about this mentioned by Greg, leader syndrome and full cooperation between players?
So for the leader syndrome, I'm not the best authority on this topic. Adam Kwapinski probably would, especially that people have a lot of well, when we were doing this War of Mine with Michał Oracz, we wanted to solve this syndrome with an easy solution that only the person holding the journal could make the decision. And here it's a little bit similar, because in the action phase, which is a phase shared by all players, the player who is currently in charge of making an action is the one that will finally make it. And he or she can listen to others, can be influenced by them, but it is that person's final decision. So like if you're playing with a bully who is threatening to sorry, my daughter.
Say hi.
Hey honey. The roles at
roles.
the beginning of the campaign, they were meant purely to distribute the responsibilities and distribute the learning curve between the players, because we knew that the game as a whole is a complex experience that might be overwhelming for people who have not played similar games before. This is why we wanted to distribute the generator mechanics, the health mechanics, people getting sick and dying, and all the other core mechanics of the game between players, giving them the possibility to learn each role and sort of see the game through different angles.
Yeah, so it's like soft version of U-Boat. Play this.
To be honest, I have not played U-Boat.
Because U-Boat is
I know
crazy.
Michał Ozon will kill me now because I think he even sent me a copy, but I haven't played it.
In U-Boat, every role on the ship is totally different, and each of the player is responsible for totally different things, and he's learning only his part of the small world, but trying to coexisting with other players.
So this is a very similar issue here, meaning that you are learning your role and you're responsible for it. And then you can change, then you can see the whole picture. But having Adam Kwapinski on board is a luxury not many developers can say they have. And he has come up with something really good, and I don't want to reveal. I cannot reveal because Adam would kill me, and I'm afraid of him. I'm literally twice his size, but I'm afraid of him. So be patient, guys and gals. You Kickstarter backers. This campaign is for me and the whole team of Glass Cannon Unplugged. It's the work of our lives, and trust me when I say that we will do everything in our power to make this good, this game as good as possible for you guys.
So answering this all solo versus
This is
co-op.
not a solo game. This is a co-op. It can play as a solo when you play it without the player roles. When you play it with the player roles, it divides your responsibilities, thus creating the division between players, and to sort of give this division more meaning and more narrative as well, because this is my kind of role in this project, to oversee its narrative side. So this is something that we are adding to the game, and that we will soon present to our Kickstarter backers on the updates. I don't want to put a date on it, and I don't want to put a name on it, because there were the name extra care to naming an expansion or a mechanic, because we believe that it sort of sets the mood for the whole thing. But it will both be attractive to those who are focused on the team, and those who had an issue with the roles not being enough to create the cooperative mood for them.
So, dear backers, it's not solo.
Not at all.
Not at all. Leader syndrome issue is addressed.
It's addressed, but it's not, it's not solved, because the only game that there are a few games that solve this problem. I think Nemesis is one of them, Adam's super popular hit.
Yeah, but because it's semi-co-op.
It's semi-co-op, and it was actually, when Adam says about it, it was one of his incentives to design this game to address this issue of the leader. So that was built around this idea. And Frostpunk wasn't built around this idea. Frostpunk was built around the idea of us creating a city and taking care of a society within that city. And the cooperation happens on multiple levels, from the sequence of taking actions to exactly, planning how we will take our actions. It has several layers of people being able to cooperate with each other, to talk to each other, and make decisions together.
Okay, we have one question, one specific question from Marcin Code Virus from Kickstarter. He's one of the backers, and we've seen this several times during the comments, that game is compared, personally I don't know why, but is compared a lot to the Robinson Crusoe, and people are asking, is it's not too similar to the Robinson Crusoe?
Well, knowing Adam and his approach to design, and our approach to being compared to others, we wouldn't dare to touch, especially that we know Ignacy Trzewiczek well, and we're fans of his games and Portal in its entirety. We wouldn't dare to touch his design in any way, especially that we're going with such a huge project. Frostpunk, the board game, is a game on its own, and although some things might be similar, because in board games it's, you can say that when you roll a die, it's
from other game.
Exactly. So there are decks, yes, and there are decks that coexist, and with one deck you build another. So in that matter, it is similar. The events in Frostpunk, the board game, events are the morning cards and the dusk cards. So the morning cards are those that kind of create the effect of events happening, of events unfolding in your city. And the dusk is the deck for consequences. And those consequences come from multiple sources. They can come from establishing a new law in the city. They can come from making a decision in the morning phase, or maybe other places. So that's a mechanic on its own, and it's strictly connected with Frostpunk's design, of the digital Frostpunk design, because there you could also make promises to your society, to your citizens, and they would hold you accountable for them at some point of the game.
I think it's the common issue that with every Kickstarter, backers are trying to connect the new game with some previous games just to imagine what they will get in the future.
So I think fans of people who enjoyed Robinson Crusoe will definitely enjoy Frostpunk the board game in that regard, because what Robinson Crusoe did is that it made you feel that your decisions somehow had consequences, and this is why people loved it so much. And in this regard, yes, you will have a lot of fun in Frostpunk when you see the decisions you've made a few turns ago hit you in the face with the consequences when you least expect it to.
Actually, when we are talking now about the rules and mechanics, I read almost a whole rule book, which is on a Kickstarter page, and I need to be honest with you. I think it's a lot. I mean, there's a lot of phases, a lot of markers, a lot of tracks, and my impression was it's gonna be a hard game. It's not gonna be
it's not an easy game in terms of how vast it is. This is why we created the roles. This is why the roles were created in the first place, to sort of as I said, ease that onboarding process, because with the roles the game is divided into sections, and for those of you and those of us who don't have minds like Adam Kwapiński or our developer Rafał Pieczyński, who can comprehend all of this at a go, this is and we need more time to sort of adjust to certain things and take them in. This is why we have the roles, and that was their major role in this game.
But making this simple, how can you rank the complexity using the Board Games Geek scale? How can you score?
I think I never understood that
okay, so maybe
no, I'm kidding. I can relate to that. So I think we would be less, well, with the total game we would be more or less on the level of This War of Mine, maybe a bit easier, because of how well the phases are distributed and divided. There's a lot of those phases, but all in all, they're not super complicated in terms of resolving them. And if we take if we take a look at the game as a whole, but with player roles, I think we would go at 0.5 point down in that scale.
Okay, so currently checking This War of Mine, it's something above 3.2. So
yeah, I think
it's quite complex, but their game's harder.
It's not we play tested with various kinds of people and players with various experience in board games, and this is, as I said, I'm going to repeat myself probably a lot. This is why the player roles were created, to make it easier for people who have not experienced games like,
But comparing it to the U-Boat, U-Boat is the super hard game to understand.
I have not played it. I know it's super good, and I know its
complexity is above 4 on board games.
Okay, so no, we're not going into something so complex, definitely.
Okay, so maybe leave this subject. Now we can go to something fun. Everybody loves gadgets, and time to talk about the famous generator and minis, because people are asking, because still we don't have any physical preview, physical playthrough, and people are asking how the generator is working, if the cubes will be not stacked forever there, and if a drawer is needed for it.
Okay, so starting at the beginning, the generator, the idea for the generator to be a cube tower, to be a part of the mechanics, was with us from the very beginning, and we looked into various solutions, but we didn't like any of them. So with Adam's help, we contacted Przemek Fornal, who is an industrial engineer, who designs, some crazy machines for factories and such. And we gave him the things that we want to achieve, the percentages for each cube that falls in, to be able to stay inside and then be knocked out by a different cube that falls in, and maybe creating a cascade effect. And it took him some time, but he came up with in our opinion, flawless design, which is now 3D printed by my group of friends who are 3D printer maniacs. Inside there are multiple shelves that cause the cubes that fall in to bounce off them, and there are several catchers, as I call them. And this, well, first of all, the cubes are distributed throughout the interior of the tower, and they then they have the chance to stay there until touched by another dice that falls in the next turn. And this mechanic, why we wanted this, because imagine living in the city where everything depends from this generator, which is the heart that pumps the heat into all the buildings, into all the city that creates life, because otherwise we would just froze to death. And maintaining this machine should be our top priority, because without it we are dead. And we wanted to achieve this element where it's something like a little bit controversial, but I don't know if you guys like Lovecraft's stories.
Of course.
So Lovecraft wasn't the best writer and such, but he had this one thing where he could create this invisible threat that was just hanging in the air, waiting to attack. And this is something that we wanted to have this. I see the garden gnome. No, that's a magnificent miniature, and it's an amazing thing. So when I was talking with the guys from 11-bit Studios, and they said, obviously you're going to have the generator, and I said yes, but we don't want to make it just a miniature. We want to make it a part of the mechanics of the game. And they were like, okay, don't know how you're gonna do it, but if you can, then that's just for the best. So this mechanics, it creates this tension that everything is going well, everything is well. You've managed to provide shelters, you have some wood to build more, and then you realize that there's like 8 cubes inside that cube tower, and the next time you're going to throw in some coal to provide the heat, more than the amount that you've thrown in can fall out, and there is a chance for that, and that makes you think twice about how much you're going to spend, and where do you actually need to heat your city.
Okay, the tension in this mechanic, because for me personally, it's quite important to balance the tension with the randomness of this, of feeling this game is not fair, to balance those things.
That's totally true, and this is why we put so much effort and time into creating a mathematically correct model inside the cube tower.
How many times did you try to put the cubes?
Now I think it had more than 1,000, I think, well above 1,000 tests.
So like in this ad when they try to shut down the doors of the car and try.
Yes, it's something like this, but with several of us throwing the cubes inside and noting the results for many hours.
And that's why the rest of the world thinks we are nerds.
Yes. Yeah, well, when my mother saw me doing that, and I bet it was true for others, she was like, "What the hell are you doing?" Yeah, so then there's this one more thing that is, it's coming. It's going to be revealed soon.
Okay.
It's a very simple solution, but it's you can actually upgrade the generator. That's all I'm going to say.
Okay.
Nice.
You can actually upgrade it. And now the drawer.
The drawer, yeah.
Yes.
It's not necessary, and we have an idea how to create the drawer in a way so that it actually allows you to use the cube tower without it. So because I saw some people suggesting that there is some space in front of the generator and the cubes could actually fall out. But this is at the beginning of the game. So when you're in the later or end stages of the game and you throw like 8 or more pieces of coal inside and picking them one by one from the board, we think it would just be too time consuming and boring for some people. This is why we came up with the idea of this drawer. And because it's basically it's a super easy solution. Even now with the resin printed cube towers, it works flawlessly. You can just pull it out. It has some space between the walls. It doesn't create.
The generator is not shaking during.
No, it's not wobbly. It's like super solid. It has supports. It has an even base, and the amount of force you need to put to kind of pull out the drawer is minimal, so it doesn't move. If this is something that takes a little bit of precision, I mean, if you're after having several beers and moving your hand around, then obviously you can knock the tower down, but this is something we as designers have no influence on. But removing the drawer, you can do it with 2 fingers, and it's absolutely no problem. This has been tested also several dozens of times, and as I said, for the resin, which has a different surface than the hard plastic, this is going to be made in the manufacturer in the factory. It works now, and it will work even better with hard plastic.
Preparing printing resin version of those minis is something we are planning to add to the Planet Journal as extra to offer resin.
We are considering it. We need to check some stuff with the license and with the design of the interior. But it is possible.
Okay.
It is possible. I'm not saying it's for sure like with the other things I've spoiled, but we are strongly thinking. As I said, I'm a huge 3D printing nerd. So are my friends, and we will give it a solid thought.
And currently minis. What is the current size of the minis?
Before I answer this question, I just want to say that some people are worried that when you put the minis on on the tokens for buildings that they will cover them. Well, this is why we created the minis, so that the base is smaller than the cardboard token. And once you place it on top of each other, there is the space with the color, with the mechanics, with the symbols. It's all visible.
So it's on the borders of the tile.
It's on the borders of the tile, and you know, obviously we will look into it before the final printing. If there is any kind of idea, any kind of solution that's going to make it even easier, then we will definitely go for it. But for now, we think that this works perfectly, and you know, just placing it there, it's super visible. So the size of the miniatures, the small buildings are 2 by 3 centimeters base, and the large buildings are 3 by 4 centimeters base, and the worker, engineer, and children meeples, or actually miniatures, are 1 by 2 centimeters base.
Okay,
So,
and my question to the children and in general people, miniatures representing people and workers, are you going to post in one of the updates more close look on them?
yes.
Or
Yes,
renders?
that's something we have coming up in the next week. So the idea behind, you know, because in the digital Frostpunk, you could have a city with way over 1,000 people in it, and for a board game, we cannot allow ourselves to have 1,000 people on the board because it would just take forever to play it. This is why it's sort of the scale is different, and each meeple represents several people, a group of people. In this term being a little bit abstract. So to show it on the miniatures, we asked our artists to create sort of like a mini diorama. First of all, it beautifully shows the mood of the game. I am a huge fan of the one with children playing snowball fighting around some ruins, some ruined structure. This shows you that each miniature represents a workforce,
scenes,
some scene, and you know, fits perfectly into the whole scenery of the board game.
It's a nice idea and quite unique for Kickstarter board games. Miniature part of Kickstarter world. It's nice.
Thanks.
So really like
thanks
it.
to our artists. And coming back to the size of the miniatures. So obviously some will be very flat, like the snow pits, which will be like even less than a centimeter. But then other structures will be over 5 centimeters tall, with coal mine and the beacon being like super tall structures. So this will kind of create this effect of having a real city on your board, where buildings can have different heights and sizes. It really looks amazing, and we have some real life pictures of the prototype coming up soon to the Kickstarter.
Okay, I think we can go to the story. Because we have some questions about the story within the game, and it's quite obvious question. If we should expect some campaign book also, or everything will be on cards. It will be one of scenarios, separate scenarios you can play in as one, or it will be also some booklet to connect them into the campaign?
Okay, so Frostpunk has a lot of lore. It was when it was created by 11 Studios, they wrote down this whole technology background for it, for this alternative vision of the 19th century world with this Steam technology. We even linked it in our campaign. I know our campaign page is like super long and super massive, but we wanted to put as much relevant information there as possible, and there's a lot of it. So those of you who are lore freaks, you can go visit the official wiki and watch the beautiful 2D animated teaser for the original game. And in the board game, we definitely want to have as much of that lore as possible, be it on the cards or in some other. There are two ways. The campaign thing that you've mentioned, this is something that is also on our tongues right now. We have some things in motion. But as usual, I will have to keep a little bit silent about it. But the other idea is that basically there is this beautiful art book that has a lot of elements of the story for the digital version of the game. And we are talking with our friends from 11-bit Studios if we could kind of refresh it and add it in some form to the board game. And I think this would be also something really, really cool for all those lore freaks like myself.
Okay, it's a good idea. Going to the story topic again, there is an idea for a person, I don't know, it's a guy or girl, named Mickey Narak, and he's saying, I think you should make a template for custom laws, scenarios, homebrew, and actively encourage people to mod the game. So he's trying to, I guess he's trying to say, let's make this game
community driven. Yeah.
Exactly.
Super good idea. And this is something we will strongly look into. I don't know if we will be able to do it
in this
on
version
the campaign.
of Kickstarter.
No, on this campaign, because there's only a limited amount of things we are able to process. But we plan for Frostpunk to be a game with what we call a long tail, meaning that it's not a game that we will publish and forget. On the contrary, this is to continue the philosophy of our friends from 11-bit Studios, who, I think with this War of Mine, they have set the absolute record for computer development studio to develop a game post-launch. I think it was this year that we saw the last expansion that kind of finalized the game. This is something unheard of and unseen anywhere else. And we plan to follow in their footsteps with Frostpunk for as long as we will be possible and for as long as it will be relevant to our gamers.
So we have two questions here. Should we expect paid add-ons and all-in pledge?
Yes, you can expect paid add-ons, but those add-ons will be not so much game mechanics oriented. They will be something for aesthetics and something for the mood and something for the collectors. The add-ons we will have, they won't be something connected to the game in terms of mechanics and design. There's nothing like a second expansion coming that's going to be a paid add-on. When we're on the topic of the add-ons, there's something I can spoil. So as I mentioned before, we were the spear tip of the Polish companies launching from Kickstarter, and to kind of keep the spirit of that, I have managed to contact two amazing Polish artists, and I think I cannot drop the names yet.
No,
I don't
you
want
can
to...
after interview.
Yes.
Okay,
If you promise to keep silent
okay.
until next week. Uh,
Promise.
they are they are a class within a class, top of the top, and they have agreed to help us on this campaign with the add-ons, with their work, created especially for us, for Frostpunk. And it will be entirely exclusive, unavailable anywhere
But
else.
because I think Greg said it earlier before the interview that current graphics are mostly from the PC game.
Yes, that's true. They're so beautiful that it would be
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
just a sin not to use them. And the graphics we have, this is something already unlocked. We will be creating a custom board setup for the whole board, and for other things connected to it that might be coming soon. And we will obviously have some more art created especially for the game. But the stuff that was done by 11-bit Studios and their artists is just too good not to
So
use. So
summarizing
coming back,
it, yeah.
summarizing this, there are add-ons coming, but they won't be something that will influence your game in a direct way.
So it will not rob you from the experience.
Oh, definitely not.
Yeah.
If you're a backer, you're getting the gaming experience total. There's no hidden stuff that we have stashed, and we want to get some extra charge for this. This is our philosophy, and obviously we look at other companies how they do their Kickstarters, but with this one we decided to go our own way, and so far it has paid off. And there will be an all-in pledge for those, because there are just a lot of people who want that, and
Yeah, all quite
it's even
standard. And
easier for us in terms of fulfillment, to see how and how much they want of the additional stuff. And everything we will include in this campaign will be in the team of Frostpunk, and it will just add to the team.
okay. So
Amazing.
Oh, and about the company, as we have on our
Yeah.
Kickstarter page, we are a company established in 2019 by myself and Paweł Obara. Michał Ozon joining us at the beginning of 2020. We are funded by our own money, and we have secured a grant from a Polish government agency called PARP, which is an agency for innovative developments in our country, partially funded by European Union's funds. And we, with our idea for the innovation in the board gaming industry, we scored, I think, in the top 3 of their projects to be granted the money. And this idea is also connected with Frostpunk. I have never said it anywhere else, so you guys have an exclusive. This is mentioned at the bottom of our Kickstarter page, that Frostpunk, the board game, is going to be powered by an app called Tabletop Tutor. And this is an app we will be developing separately with a team of experienced developers from Knights of Unity and Nomtech. Hopefully, and Nomtech. We will see how the guys divide the work between themselves. We've worked with both of those software houses before. Nomtech is a super well-known company that did apps for the city of Berlin and some major companies in US. And Knights of Unity, they're a complete bunch of madmen of coders who kind of are responsibility for the success of Disco Elysium, if you know this PC game. They are amazing people. We have been friends even before we started making games, and working with them and their powerful crew of coders is going to be a pure pleasure. So this app is going to be an app that helps people in the onboarding process for board games using augmented reality and tools available to the community. And this app will be free to use both for the end users, meaning the players, and for publishers as well. They will have a public access to the tool, allowing them to create setups for their games.
It's great. It's you are reading our minds, because our question is, can you tell us more about the app?
So that's one app. There's another one coming. The other app is strictly connected to Frostpunk, and this is something that's my special project. This is something I think will shed a completely new light on how we see metagame in board games and how we can play with each other over a distance without actually communicating in terms of like we are now. For now, all I can say is that those of you who are familiar with the On the Edge expansion for Frostpunk should look at it more closely, because this is this is the foundation for the idea of this app, and it will have, as anything we do, layers upon layers, and besides including if we can actually make it, because we are setting this up as our final stretch goal, and it will be something that we have not done so far. It will be a financial stretch goal, so it will creation of this app will depend solely on how much can we gather on Kickstarter.
It's going to be the only financial.
It's not going to be the only financial. We are overhauling the campaign, and next week and the week after will feature some major changes in how we run this campaign, because we also saw that people are confused.
Yes.
It's not bad in the terms that if game is already super completed and full enough, even if you get so much support in the first 24 hours, of course you don't have to throw a lot of more extra things just to throw something to the people, take it. But still is the feeling that you can put something more in the updates or reveal something more, because you've reached over the million, and
we wanted to kind of dose the excitement and spread it throughout the campaign. That was our thinking behind it. But we, as I said, we listened to how you guys responded to what's happening, and we plan to overhaul the campaign for it to be more transparent to everybody, because there's nothing we want to hide. It was just to, as I said, dose the excitement, and sort of not to say like we don't have any ideas, like something like this, because the ideas we have plenty, and even spare design we have plenty. So this is something that's going to be addressed in the following days and in the following weeks. We still have more than 2 weeks of the campaign. There's a lot of stuff we have prepared, and now it's going to be, I think, a big challenge for my team. But I believe in each single person there to do like they did before, over the top.
Because it's all about building the credibility, because you've raised a lot, and I hope this interview also will help you to go to the next step in the credibility area for people, because still some people don't know the artists behind the game, don't know the names, and oh my God, this is their first project. They raised so many.
That's totally understandable. We are not some rock stars. Adam is a very well-known author, but and so is Michał Ozon, and I've had my share of things I've done in the past, and so did Rafał and David and Łukasz. But we realize we are a fresh player on the board, and this is why we've put so much attention into the amount of stuff we have informed on our Kickstarter page. This is why we've spent so much time creating the tabletop simulator boxes to show people that we are not afraid of our design, and we're not afraid to share it. In fact, in the update that we posted on Saturday, we have placed some links to a survey that will greatly help us to improve any kind of issues that might still be on hand with the design. So if some of you are playing on tabletop simulator or have played in the dice before, please go there and just spend a couple minutes to fill the survey, because that's with the benefactory factor to the game and to all of us.
Okay. I think we are near the end of the interview. Jakub, you want to add something more?
Well, I'm super grateful to you guys, to David and Greg, that you've actually helped me to address those questions. And it's so good to communicate. And on the Kickstarter, it's sometimes not possible. People sometimes there's like almost 2,000 comments right now.
Yes,
it's impossible to scroll through all of that. The FAQ section is there, but it doesn't address everything. So big thanks to you guys for allowing me to address some of those things directly, and I hope this clears a lot of the questions hanging in the air.
One final question is quite general, but I want to ask it. So I want you to say in a few words about the Frostpunk. Whom do you recommend it or whom not? What kind of players should go to the KS page right now after this video and support you, or and which board gamers should rather skip this campaign? Because not every game's for everybody.
Yeah, sure, obviously. Okay, so maybe I'll start with what Frostpunk is not. I would like to. I won't say don't go there and this game is not for you, because in my opinion, this is something that's beautiful in board games, that you can start by playing Dixit and finish playing by Twilight Imperium. It's a process. It's a process. And what you won't find in Frostpunk the board game is randomness. There is very little of it. There are random elements, for example, the events deck, or there's a little bit of randomness in the generator, but like tiny little bit, because as I said before, it has been calculated well and tested.
But I guess don't confuse this with replayability. Still, every scenario is highly replayable.
Yeah, wow. The replayability is something that the heading of our update, replayability is king, wasn't by chance. With the custom game setups, with scenario specific cards, and with the cards in general that you will have in the game. I don't have the numbers for you, but to all those super hard board game geeks out there, you will be able to squeeze this game 100 times over, and it will still have some surprises for you. So if you like randomness in your games, you will be a little bit disappointed. This game is about managing the risk. It's about making decisions and being aware that each of them can have consequences, and these consequences don't have to hit you immediately. So this is our idea behind the Dusk deck. You are basically constructing a deck and moving the let's say the track for a chance up and down by adding cards to it and by making decisions. This is something that we believe is very true for Frostpunk, and that's why it's implemented in the game. So for whom the game will be super good to play and dedicated for. All players who enjoy a mature and heavy theme of the game. So, for example, those who enjoyed This War of Mine, that was kind of revolutionary in that topic. All those players who enjoy consequences in their games. So, for example, players of Robinson Crusoe. All the players who enjoy challenging cooperative board games, and there's plenty to to name. So I won't go.
A family softy for Sunday afternoon.
Unless you're a family of nerds.
Yeah.
You know, this game is going to bear a 16 plus mark, mainly because of the stuff that's in it and that's connected to the world of Frostpunk and to the society it has. But you know, you are your own captain and of your own ship. So if you think your kids that are younger are ready for that thing, they're mature enough, and they play games besides Carcassonne, then why not? You can actually take some of the cards out of the game, like we had in This War of Mine, where you could remove a certain color of the card, and it would not see those super mature scripts. This is something similar here. But on general, this is a game for a mature audience. And this is a game that is, first of all, challenging. And if you like challenges, and if you like to face them with your friends or by yourself, then this is definitely a game for you.
And this will be go to the ad. But I agree. We are our Frostpunk was on our radar from the beginning, mostly because of the mature, as I mentioned at the beginning of the interview, mostly because of the mature story. And one of the most important things I will love in board games, and I hope, and I'm almost sure we found in Frostpunk, is the immersion, that most, if not all, actions are connected to the theme. We know why we are doing specific actions, and everything is combined into this one major organism and story driven. Okay, I think we've reached the shore. For everybody, for anyone hearing this, watching this interview, if you have any more questions, reach us here on YouTube in the comment section, or just go to the KS page, support Frostpunk, and add your comments there.
There's I just want to mention that there's a very active Facebook group for Frostpunk.
Yeah, that's right.
Where all of us developers and Adam Kwapinski as well are present. We try to respond to each question there, mainly because, you know, people in that group have been with us for months, and they are like super loyal and super engaged fans. And big shout out to our primordial fan, Derek Algerie, who has been just the best of fans out there, creating some super helpful stuff for others. And if you have anything you want to ask and you want to just check out, just go to our Facebook group, Frostpunk the Board Game, and you can probably find it there.
Yeah, and probably it will be much easier to navigate than comment section
Yes.
has. So I think we are covered. Once
Thank
again,
you. Thank
Jakub,
you
it
for
was
doing
so
this.
much pleasure to host you, and fingers crossed for the rest of the campaign. I think you don't need this, but still.
You know,
Yeah.
we in my professional way, I've been in. I've experienced ups and downs, and this has been a process. And like any successful thing, it's first of all not one person's success, but a team. And
Yeah.
second of all, it never works like, whew, it's a success. It's a accumulation of many failures, of many mistakes, and many lessons learned the hard way. So all the luck and all the positive energy that is provided by you or by our community, it's always welcome. So it's not like I don't need it. I certainly do, and my whole team does.
Okay, so fingers crossed.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys. Bye.